figuring it.
Hi everyone, Dr. Vicky here, speaking to you from the Seeds of Transformation Healing Center. I'm here with my one and only Ona. Hi, Ona.
Hi guys. Yeah,
Welcome to Moon Shadows, New Moon in Scorpio.
yeah. Let's describe this new moon. There's a lot about this new moon and like pieces of sort of coming together and putting an altar together and tuning into the energy. It feels it a lot. It feels like I have to write everything down.
Yeah. Well, if you want to remember it, I guess you have to.
There's a lot of channels open.
If you're going to look back at the paper, I guess it's
Because
good.
right now the sky honestly feels like the moon is void, of course. I don't know if it is or not, but if I were gonna tune in, you know, that way, it's like it's not doing much right now. And I don't even know.
Well, it is at a later degree. It's not quite the anaretic degree, but it's close. And Uranus is in an anaretic degree. We'll take a look at the chart. We'll take a look at the chart. Let me pull it up because it's easier. Like we could talk about it and visualize it in our head, but people are going to go, "What are they talking about?" We can show it to you, then
I had the
perhaps
double,
you can see what's in my head most of the time.
I had
Oh
the
my
double
goodness.
double. But
Uh,
some ideas about this new moon already with the honey and preservation. Like there's a lot about this new moon in Scorpio.
well, yes. And so um November 20th. Is that it? Is that, yeah, that's it, right?
Yes, because it will be sort of on the 19th and sort of on the 20th for
Okay, wait a
people.
minute. Then
Uh,
I'm on the wrong page. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong.
It would
Oh,
be like almost 2 o'clock in the morning your time, East Coast, 1:47. It would be almost 1 a.m. in Central Standard Time in the morning, so overnight tonight, and then into the 20th on Mountain and Pacific. It goes across a couple of,
yeah, we're having it early tomorrow morning,
yes.
and California is having it tonight, right? Tonight, yeah. I get all messed up with that. I should be, after all these years, I still like, I turn things around in my head.
Yeah.
So what I had originally up was the next thing that happened. So, but this is the new moon in Scorpio, and there's a lot of pieces. There's a lot of moving pieces to this because
It looks like this though, like,
yeah, yeah, like the Running Man or the Screaming Man, or the man who remembered he could do a cartwheel, but maybe not. I don't know.
highlighted and, you know,
So just as you know, visually, we can see the giant water trine in the sky, right? And so we know that there's an abundance of water energy, whether that's water from the sky, water from the ocean, water from the ground, but it's also our emotions and our feelings. So we are at I mean, yesterday we had a bill to open the Epstein files up, which
right.
I don't know how much we're going to learn from those. I think we're going to learn a whole lot more from the ones that the Republicans asked of the estate of Epstein.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff
I
is,
don't know if we're learning so much about content as we are about content of character on some of these people and turning their loyalty or what was believed to be loyalty around. It's not the content, it's who's going to step up to the plate.
yeah, well, see, but this whole idea of like this outpouring is all this water And we're dealing with Scorpio, which is about secrets, right? Underground, the underworld. Scorpio, we're talking about, and Pluto, the Lord of the underworld, is part of this because it makes a kite to the Grand Trine.
Yeah. I put some
It,
cilantro up on the altar.
and it's in Aquarius. So let me
Yeah.
and the thing about Scorpio is that it's co-ruled by Mars and Pluto. So what Mars and Pluto are doing is important as well. Well, Mars is at 11, 12 of Sag.
Yeah.
Um, Not in this mix, but it is squaring the nodes. It's squaring the nodes. And it's not, it's going to, a couple of days it'll be exact. It's not exact yet, but the energy is there.
Mhm.
And so the resolution for this particular, because when Mars is halfway between the nodes, you don't know if you're coming or you're going. You don't
Mhm.
know if do I concentrate on the past? Do I focus on the future? What do I do? Book, 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 book. And so the resolution for this particular one is the South Node. And so it is about the actions that you take need to be really well considered, thought out, practical, because you have to go through the South Node in Virgo, right? So you have to pull in all the things that you're good at, right? And like focus all your good stuff to bring that energy forward into the North Node in Pisces, I think. So there's that. But then we have the Sun, Saturn, Neptune, Jupiter. We have a Jupiter trine with Saturn, which is part of the synodic cycle that began at the end of 2020. That's a 20-year cycle. Every 20 years, we have a conjunction of the two planets that describe how we're going to create our society. And those two planets came together at the end of 2020 in the first degree of Aquarius. So we're building the Aquarian age. And a lot of that, I think, has to do with our ability to take all our gifts and apply them in order to raise all boats, in order to help everyone. It's less about, you know what I'm saying? So really put your best self out there. That's what this part of this as well. I don't want to you talk, say if there's anything. I'll read the Sabian symbols, but
That was what
what
I
are
was
you
looking
feeling?
at. Yeah, that's
Okay.
I'm ready for that one.
Okay, so the new moon at 29 of Scorpio, an Indian woman pleading to her chief for the lives of her children. That could be anywhere in the world. And it's pretty much what all the like worry things that are happening is just that. Is just that. Prayer as a force that brings peace. When our instincts get the better of us and our behavior goes outside of acceptable limits, we must find a way to center in peace, intense emotional focus. Oh, and the other thing is that this new moon is opposite Uranus in the
Mhm.
anaretic degree of Taurus. They think there's going to be a tech bubble pop.
Well, there was a cloud fair, which is,
That's right. That's
anybody
right.
who's techie knows I'm going to say everything wrong, but apparently was, kind of a major aorta, okay, in everything that requires a smooth, internet or whatever. But I don't know. I know I've had some weird things happen. And we're like, oh, Mercury's retrograde, and then Jupiter's retrograde also. So it's like twice as weird.
And Mercury in this chart is Cassimi, the sun. Later in the day, it makes its conjunction to the sun while it's retrograde, which is the highlight of the Mercury retrograde cycle, which
So
is
awesome.
looking within. Looking within. How deep within? As deep as you can go. It's Scorpio.
Do you think we're gonna go dark? There's gonna be some kind of, blackout or something?
No, no, I think it's emotional. I think it's, well, I mean, it could manifest in any way, right? Really. It could be an emotional sense. It could be um, a release. I mean, there's a lot of tears. There's a lot of tears in this chart, but tears can be healing. It's not just about um, the terrible thing, but the release of the feelings. Like it could be relief as well. I feel relieved after that vote yesterday. Do I think we're going to get anything out of him and Bondi? No, but it doesn't. It don't. But they're big fat liars anyway. They're just going to
It
lie
doesn't
their way
matter.
until they're either dead or in jail, right? That's it. That's the way it's going to be. We can't expect
The
you know,
more
just.
resistance, the more admission of guilt.
Of
So,
course, yeah. Well, yeah. Well,
push,
it
right?
could be said. So let me just continue on these saving symbols because they get better. So as I said, Scorpio Scorpio has the dual ruler of Mars and Pluto. Pluto's at 2 degrees of Aquarius, an unexpected thunderstorm. Mars is at 12 of Sag. A flag turns into an eagle that crows, announcing a new era. Humanity is on the verge of a huge transformation, and those who can feel this have a duty to announce it, announcing our willingness to evolve. There is today a large movement, ill-defined and amorphous, and that there is a large movement that amorphous energy is Saturn and
Yeah.
Neptune stirring the pot, and what's going to rise out of that is going to rise out of it when those two planets conjoin in the first degree of Aries. That's the very beginning. It's not the end, it's just the beginning. And like any seedling, you have to nurture it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't make it. So, but knowing exactly or as close to exactly, and then leaving room for or better, which is what you always say in a spell, right? This is what I'd like or better, because you don't want to limit the universe being nice to you. Um, you know, have a vision. What's your vision? What does your America look like? What does your community look like? What does your friend circle look like? What is your needs, like having your needs met? What does that look like? Right? I mean, it's sort of almost living in the possibility of the moment is all it is what's coming up for us. So we have to have an idea. But of course, everything has, things we have to let go as well, because if it, you can't take in anything if your fist is closed, if you don't.
I agree. I don't think that we should isolate new moons to intent and full moons to release because I think there's something good about doing both at both.
Yes, yes. And of course, we have Uranus on the other side of this.
There's
So in a
your
way, it's almost like a full moon, new moon,
kind of, yeah.
right?
It's like
And
I
then the interesting thing is that the day vibrates to 40 over 4. That's the Page of Cups.
surprised. Mhm.
Um, Surprises, good news. It's a feminine. It's the pages are in Malkuth on the Tree of Life. That's the place of daughters, young women, right? A message from young women. What happened yesterday and young women. And when right before we got on, I was listening to Nancy Mace, who was calling out a fellow house member, I think. I think it was another house member who had got some sort of medal, but
Yeah.
she brought up his abusive past, and she's asking for censure. So she's sort of like, she was, when I was listening, I didn't listen to everything. She was sort of like enumerating all the things.
Yeah.
Um, but um,
I also see the Page of Cups, if this is something that people can relate to, is somebody who sings. So that could be like a song that sort of sets this whole new moon thing into place for you. I get songs a lot.
Well, it's interesting because if I were to like associate a planet with song, I'd probably go to Venus. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm sure Mercury also would be there because, the bard and all that stuff.
yeah.
But Venus is in Scorpio, 17 of Scorpio, and she's trying the North Node and sextile the
Okay.
South Node. So this isn't as difficult as we may think it's going to be. To me, it feels more like a release and a relief than getting the rug pulled out from under us. I feel like we're on the other side of something. And now it's just a matter of, um, again, deciding what you want and what's worth keeping.
Yeah.
What's worth keeping. I'm going to get out of this. And we had some conversation about bees and honey. And
Yes, that is because that has been coming into the consciousness, and I've got the new moon tea brewing up there on the altar, which is a honey base, citrus peels, and then you could put anything pretty much in there. Sugar and I use lavender and I have a cinnamon stick. So it's nicely infused and it's charged. But the whole idea of honey as being an enzymatic that debraids, that chews away at dead tissue, right? This new moon feels like it has that debridement kind of quality to it, and it needs the citrus to, like, you know, I think I always have a citrus thing at this time of year because winter is typically when oranges are harvested.
yeah, in season. And
Yeah,
also when you need more vitamin C because there's less sun, right? You're not
might
getting your
sprinkle some of
sunshine.
that. I have vitamin C. So I definitely feel that as one of the things. And Vicky goes, should we get the bee tarot? I'm like, yeah, bees are part of this whole
Right?
uh
Well, the healing power of honey,
right.
right? The healing power of honey.
I gotta order more.
Yeah, well, we were prepping. My husband called and I had him on speaker, and he was talking about how where we usually get our honey, they don't have, we usually get a giant jar of it, and they didn't have it. He was all disappointed.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so it's really
And
quite good for
maybe
you.
stocking up, and it's also a preservative that you could be room temperature, it could be refrigerated, that kind of thing that's used as,
Mhm.
maybe I'm just worried that the bees are not going to be as happy next year.
Well, you know what I would suggest? Because some of us who are watching this live in places where things are growing still and they still have bees, right?
Yeah.
So if you're in one of those places, like maybe plant a few extra things that the bees like.
Yeah.
Um, or if you live in a cold climate like we do and the bees are sleeping,
Yeah.
um, start planning, like maybe have a little plan for your garden or something like that, or ways to,
Yeah.
just put the bee energy in, or how about this? Getting one of those sewing bees or a quilt bee. I would
Yeah.
think that would be so cool, just standing around sewing with a bunch of ladies chit-chatting
Yeah.
about life.
Yeah.
I mean, how much wisdom goes around that in that hive, right? And maybe that's what we need to do. We need to connect with our grandmothers, our aunts,
It feels ancestral.
family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have to reconnect with our family
Yeah.
because what's been going on has divided us so terribly. But now that things are going south for him, people are waking up.
Yeah.
And when they wake up, we should really be there for them. And I'm talking about family people. I'm not talking about strangers on the street. But I mean, if you can do that, that's fine. And it's not completely a stranger, maybe it's a neighbor. But I think it starts at home.
Yeah.
Jupiter's in Cancer.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, it's time to come home to our families.
Yeah. It feels ancestral, but usually I have this like smoky quartz and turquoise thing going on when I'm like calling in that kind of ancestor. It doesn't feel like that, not the grounding ancestors.
so I picked this for the my thing, and
Yes, that one.
it's black moonstone. It kind of is a little like
Okay.
obsidian-ish, but it's not like obsidian is can be, I don't know. I feel like there needs to be more softness with this, and this brings in a lot of softness. And
Yeah,
it helps you process your feelings.
yeah.
The moonstone, and it's pretty inexpensive. You don't have to even have a black one. There's all kinds. There's black, there's peach, there's white, there's aurora borealis, where you see the whole rainbow, and they're not too expensive. This is
There
a little
was,
expensive because of the
I
sun.
think those are gorgeous. And I think that's perfect. That's one of Scorpio's colors. That's the color of my candle. It's black. It's back there. It's not like straight up and down yet, but that's a Scorpio color.
Yeah.
And I think that when I said the not the same ancestors that are turquoise and smoky quartz like they usually are for the profile, I'm holding that piece of headstone, that volcanic stone, rhyolites is the stone that they use for, and it's got to be ancestors that are way, way out there. I'm like, why am I talking about ancestors? I don't usually have the normal thing. I am using that color a lot in my art, but this is probably the stone reaching out saying, don't forget this whole being permeable.
Yeah, this is a healing that we're having a tremendous
Right.
healing. We're being given an opportunity for a tremendous healing, and we need to be grateful for that. And like I said, when as people wake up, we need to remember that we're grateful for the people in our lives.
Yeah.
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 All
Just,
right, let's pull some cards, yeah?
yeah, I have my crow deck here.
So what is it that what do we want what kind of question are we going to ask ourselves?
Yeah, that's a great question. I don't know. What do you think? Let's ask that question. What would be
Oh, how about like a message from this new moon?
message from
Something like that.
the message from the new moon just for the next,
How many cards do you want to pick?
direction with intent. I usually, honestly, I only put one up on the
Yeah.
altar when
All right, let's pick one.
and
Small for
I
one.
struggle with dedicating an oracle deck to just my moons. I dedicated my crow deck to just the moons. But I could pull like just the majors out of it or something and do it
Oh, I
like
have
that.
no idea. I'm
I'm so on the fence with wanting to create an oracle deck to make it control it to be the perfect one and finding the perfect one.
I
Finding
think you have a couple Oracle decks in your future, but that's
I
me.
have a few suggestions.
The Princess of Swords.
So interesting, Vicky. The Princess of Swords. Why is this Princess of Swords coming up three times in less than 48 hours? Yesterday, today, and now.
Well, it's the young woman and it's air, so it's a message, right?
Hmm.
It's the whistleblower energy. The whistle is getting blown. The Six of Cups. The whistle is getting blown on the past, perhaps.
Nine of Cups.
Oh, is it nine? Oh, sorry. Ha! It looks like nine, but I switched it.
Scorpio related because it's water. But see, it's telling me I need to make my tea. These are all filled with crow treats, the little vegetables and stuff. So yeah, it's got fish. So the
All the
whole like
things that you
preserve
love.
those things, right? In your honey, in the sun oil, right? This is just honestly, I think this is what the moon's like confirm or validating that, go ahead and buy that 2 pounds of honey, Ona. You'll use all of it all winter. Thank you, Crow Tarot. I will take that and I will put that on the altar. It's a water thing. It's got that honey, which Scorpio isn't that we would think is a honey kind of vibe, but for next year, for the bees, to honor the bees, to have it for offerings, which is used in binding spells. I could probably look at the spiritual components to that, but it is something everybody has. And I always love a good edible component in my altar. Healing, longevity, prosperity, and the divine feminine. Okay. The binding agent. It is to sweeten things. So if you want to sweeten a relationship or sweeten your wallet, if you use that euphemism, then you can use honey. So it's got like multi-purpose and multi-purpose spiritual, you know, qualities to it.
I picked a rune, and I
Yes.
want to, I think I know what it means. I haven't really picked runes in a long time, so I just want to make sure.
I've never learned how to do runes.
I think that's how you spell it. Yeah.
Jules.
Um, oh, goodness gracious. Just listen to this. This is the rune I got. It's called,
I think sigils were part of this whole like it's kind of a spell, sort of like praying out loud kind of thing. Moon.
it's called Othilla, primarily means heritage, inheritance, and homeland. It symbolizes a connection to ancestry, family, and ancestral property, both in a material sense like land and a spiritual one like traditions and values. It is associated with concepts of home and family and legacy. Uh-oh. Oh, I lost it.
Right. I hear it.
Well, what we were talking about.
Yes. The headstone,
Yes,
the whole idea of that legacy, ancestry. This is a big moon.
big moon. Big moon.
And it's going to be interesting to hear everybody's story
For sure.
about how this moon manifested for them.
Give yourself the grace, guys. Give
And
yourself
I
the
think,
grace.
yeah, it'll be easy to relate how this moon affected the collective. And, you can relate the astrology to what's happening in a very obvious way.
I know in my own life when things were really difficult or
Yeah.
um, helping somebody else always made me feel better.
Yeah.
It shifts the energy. And so be helpful.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
helpful to each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the worst thing is to feel like you have, well, either you have no power or you have no choice or there's no option.
Yeah.
Um, but there's always like, you can always like shift it. You
Mhm.
can always shift it. I
Oh
mean,
my,
we're master manifestors, right? We have free will. We can choose not to be in the doldrums, even when things are hard, you know?
I know. It's just this season is starting to approach that, the idea of, with it getting dark early and then it getting cold. It's like the window of time is really focusing on what's going on inside.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like the trees now, all the energy goes into the root system.
They know it.
Um, yeah. And that's where the magic happens. The magic happens in the dark.
Yeah.
That's what Binus speaks of, the black Sephiroth behind me. I
Yeah.
mean, all things come out of nothing
Yeah.
where you can't see
You know
things.
how
But
I remedy that sometimes because I don't have like the land or the space that you have is when I have seeds on my altar, I sprinkle them in my plants. And then I see what comes up and what was in the tomato plant, the seeds inside the tomato sprout through the skin. And I planted them in there, you know, and just like stupid little things, I like this weird little, botany experiment all going on around here really helps me.
Yeah.
It's fun to see that, you know what, it's everything is kind of struggling, but everything really wants to grow. It wants to. I get little sprouts. It doesn't stay for long. My citrus thing, I was sitting on the couch. I'm like, that lemon tree is blooming. It has to be. I turned that whole freaking thing around. Nothing.
One second.
Okay, I'm gonna get some of that citrus. I'm gonna get a lemon. I'm gonna make some of that tea. This is for this new moon. I know it is.
I feel very Neptunian right now.
So drink your lemon tea
Whoops.
or
I'm
just honey.
I'm coming into focus. Not really. Well, it doesn't matter. Everybody knows what I look like.
Yeah, you are. Those are the kinds of things that have been weird on my computer, both since Mercury and Jupiter have gone retrograde. Keyboard
It's it's
locks.
it's yeah. I keep like tripping over my own 2 feet, really. I mean, not literally, but figuratively. It's like I'm making things harder for myself than I need to. I'm like, why? What happened?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well,
I can understand that. The Uranian opposition is kind of can make you trip on yourself very easily.
yeah. And this whole configuration is very challenging on a certain someone's astrological chart who thinks he's in charge of the world.
We're
So,
watching with bated breath on that one every day. We're watching with
well, we're seeing,
makes it
we're
relatable.
seeing, I think we're seeing him lose his power, which is
Yeah.
the only thing that really matters to him. So we're actually seeing his tower moment.
And this is what makes the new moon relatable is that you can show how all this stuff is going on related to this public figure and we see how it gets put together and like, oh yeah, holy crap, that was gonna happen.
Mm.
That's that's this new moon. We'll see how it works out.
Well, on that
It'd
note,
be interesting
on that note, ladies and gentlemen,
and hard to predict, I'll tell you that.
if I was gonna put if I was gonna put a if I was gonna put like a title to this would be intense flow.
Right? Yeah.
That's it.
It is. It's a big wave. This is, can't, I mean, there's some really good stuff too. I think, let's pull the card of abundance this week. There's the opportunity to see this as an abundant time.
Well, it is because the sea is roiling, and now this is when the creativity happens. So we can take hold
Yeah.
of that. But the only way we're going to get and actually manifest that is if we focus on that manifestation.
Yeah.
Have to put your energy there. Whatever it is you're creating, it's like those grand trines are great creative forces. They have the nature of fire themselves. And now we have water in the Grand Trine, so the nature of the Grand Trine is fiery and creative. But when you fill it with water, we have a spiritual initiation
Yeah.
on our front door, on our back door, on our side door, in the basement.
I think about the protests and all that is still going on too, and how that needs to have a it needs to go in a creative direction.
I think it will, though. I think it will because I think what's gonna work is gonna work, and people are pretty smart, and they don't really have an option. They're gonna have to do things that work. We're gonna have to work together with the Republicans, and I'm glad that they finally like got out of whatever that fugue was he was with him,
Yeah.
and perhaps now we can actually work together with him as like a reminder that if we don't, we're stuck with him. Like who knows? But I feel like we're going to be moving together on things. I really do. I feel much more optimistic.
Got some good news this week for the feminine, for the energy that deserves
To be seen, to be heard,
vindication
to be
and
loved, to be
right.
believed, to be believed,
Hmm.
to know that their worth, and it doesn't matter how much money you make or how many billions you have. If you've
Hmm.
hurt a young girl, you deserve to be, at least be called out on it. Because
Yeah.
I'm not sure the system would still work because they have too much money, but
There is
just to be
relief.
called out for what it is.
There
So
is relief in these women knowing that it's not their fault because they are believing that it was their fault. It is not their fault is a huge thing. It's a huge thing. It's a huge relief to say, look, and get validated and vindicated. And this is a great new moon for that too, I think.
whole lot of healing going on. All right, guys, we've held you long enough in our web of intrigue. We'll see you on Mystic Sisters
Yeah.
on your channel, right?
Saturday, yes.
Onus Tarot. On Saturday is the
The
21st,
22nd.
22nd.
The 22nd. All Sag, Sag, Sag,
Be
everything.
there or be a trapezoid. Or
Okay.
or you can always listen afterwards because we do post it afterwards. But if you can come and comment, it's always fun. WTF questions and all. All right, guys, we love you. Take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a wonderful new moon.